We all know the gnomes, right? Well, what if I told you they are more than what meets the eye? Not just garden ornaments, but something much bigger. Today, we'll be covering the lore of every gnome in the PVZ universe. But first, what actually are the gnomes? Because, at first glance, they look like little decorations that appear throughout the PVZ franchise. But the more you look into them, the stranger they feel. They've appeared across different games, different time periods, and even entire dimensions. They've been connected to mysterious trials, golden gnomes, and some of the biggest unanswered questions in the PVZ community. The gnomes aren't even on anyone's side. They just kind of exist. Starting with the Gnome Bomb. Despite the name, these aren't ordinary explosives. Gnome bombs are tied directly to the gnomes and their strange technology. And they play a major part to the game mode Gnome Bomb. The most interesting part is that both the plants and zombies are willing to fight over them. This suggests that whatever the gnomes possess is valuable enough for both sides to want it. And that's what makes the Gnome Bomb so important to the lore. It's another piece of evidence that the gnomes aren't simply harmless garden decorations. They have technology and abilities that even the plants and zombies don't fully understand. Next up, we have Rux. Rux is a mysterious seller in Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, and Battle for Neighborville. Unlike most characters in the game, Rux isn't on either side. Instead, he seems to care mostly about one thing: selling strange and unusual items. Rux sells items that are closely connected to the strange technology and abilities found throughout the universe. But the games never fully explain where he gets everything he sells. Doesn't explain it in Garden Warfare 2. And it doesn't explain it in Battle for Neighborville either. That raises the most important question. How much does Rux know about the gnomes that he's not telling us? Is he just another gnome that has control over the weird technology? Or does he have some sort of deeper connection to the mysterious gnome dimension? We never get a definite answer, but considering how secretive the gnomes are, Rux having access to their strange technology makes him one of the most interesting characters to look at when trying to understand their lore. And it doesn't stop there. If Rux really does know more about the gnomes than he lets on, then this mysterious merchant might be a lot more important than he first appears. Next up is Mr. Lucky. Now you may not know this one. So the most important thing about Mr. Lucky is his strange connection to the world of the gnomes. The gnomes are usually presented as mysterious and almost impossible to understand. But characters like Mr. Lucky give us a glimpse into the fact that they aren't all exactly the same. They can have their own identities, personalities, and roles. But just how important is Mr. Lucky to the overall gnome origin? that's where things start to get unclear. The games don't give us a huge amount of information on his personal history, so there's a lot we simply can't confirm. Now we can move on to the 3 gnomes of Battle for Neighborville: Sven, Wingding and Chip. First off, we have Sven. Now this one doesn't actually have any identity that we can see for ourselves. What makes Sven interesting is that he's another example of the gnomes having their own unique ways. Some of them have their own names and seemingly distant roles. But Sven is another gnome that highlights one of the biggest problems with researching their lore. There's a lot we don't know about him. The games give us pieces of information about the gnomes, but rarely explain Sven. So while Sven is a named member of this mysterious group, there's no solid evidence that he holds some huge secret position within the gnome universe. And speaking of mysterious named gnomes, Wingding is up next. Unlike some of the gnomes we've covered, Wingding actually has a clear job in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise. He can be found in a tent near the multiplayer portal in Giddy Park, where he acts as the keeper of the game's prize map system. We see him in Food Fight, Snow Day, Lawn of Doom, and even Birthdays. So while Wingding doesn't have some giant secret origin, he does show us something important about the gnomes. That they aren't all soldiers or guardians. Screw it. Some of them have completely different jobs, and if Wingding appears to be one of the gnomes responsible for managing rewards and events in Neighborville, then that honestly raises a pretty interesting question. If Wingding has a job managing these mysterious prize maps, who exactly is running the gnome operation behind the scenes? That moves us on to Chip. Like some of the gnomes we've looked at, we actually know what Chip does. Chip is a gnome artist and sculptor in Battle for Neighborville. He's responsible for creating victory slabs, strange gnome statues, and a lot of the things found in town centre. In fact, some of the game's medal descriptions give us a glimpse into Chip's artistic career. Apparently, Chip went through a gold gnome phase before later moving on to a gnome of gold phase. And eventually he even moved into working with diamonds? Yeah, apparently gnome art gets pretty serious. His work isn't just ordinary decoration either. The player can discover golden and diamond gnomes around town centre, directly tying to Chip's art to the collectibles scattered throughout the area. So Chip gives us something really interesting about gnome society. He proves to us that there's other gnome artists out there. And that means the gnome world may actually have its own culture and creative traditions. Something we don't get to see very often in the PVZ franchise. Chip might not be one of the most powerful gnomes we've encountered, but his artwork gives us a small glimpse into what everyday gnome life could actually look like. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the strange world of the Plants vs. Zombies gnomes. Even after everything we've uncovered, there are still plenty of questions left unanswered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.